Syndication Made Easy with Vinney Chopra and Paul Moore. I am lucky enough to be the co-host of the show and to have both these gentlemen on the show and to get all of the information that you need to know and how you're going to make your business profitable. So, Mr. Smiles or Vinney Chopra, how are you doing? Paul Moore, what's up? How you guys going?
Doing great, doing great. Welcome, Paul. It's such a pleasure. I know I've been on your show a couple of times and I really appreciated it. And thanks for, accepting the invitation to come on my show. And Paul, you are a great personality. You've written fabulous book, top seller. And I just want to introduce Paul. Many of you know him very well. Paul Moore, actually after graduating with engineering degree, I have mechanical engineering. Paul also has engineering and then an MBA. I also have MBA from George Washington University. Paul went to Ohio State and Paul started on the management development track at Ford Motor Company in Detroit. After 5 years, he departed to start a staffing company with a partner. They sold into the publicly traded firm for $2.9 million. Congratulations.
That's incredible.
5 years later, along the way, Paul was finalist for Ernst & Young Michigan Entrepreneur of the Year 2 years straight. Paul later entered the real estate sector where he completed 85 real estate investments and exits. I know quite a bit about the hotels and all I read, and the HDTV appeared on that, rehab, managed, boy, so many great things, Paul, you have done, and 3 successful developments, including assistant with the development of the Hyatt Hotel. I remember that, and a multifamily housing project led him into multifamily investment arena. And we're going to talk right now what you are passionate about, Paul. You are changing the direction. You wrote that great book, The Perfect Investment. I bought it. I learned so much out of it. I would love our audience to pick that up. I mean, it's a great, great book, Perfect Investment. And you're writing another one on self-storage. So welcome to the show. And you're also the managing director of 2 commercial real estate funds at Wellings Capital, and also the host, I should say, of the How to Lose Money. How can I forget that? The podcast.
I don't lose money? Paul, tell me how I don't lose money.
Well, we talk about how to lose money, actually. So, Vinney, thank you so much for the introduction. And boy, I got tired just listening to that. You know, when I sold my company in 1997, I thought I became an investor, but I actually became a speculator. And I became a certified shiny object chaser. So I made a lot of mistakes a lot of the way. I speculated, I invested some, and I made a lot of money, but I lost a lot of money as well. So we started a show called How to Lose Money so we could have really successful people on like Vinney, and we would hear their stories about how they lost money on the road to success, to encourage people and let people know there's great hope, because even if you failed along the way, you're not alone. So did everyone else.
Don't worry, Paul. We're going to get into how you lost some money and how you got it back.
Right. There you go.
That's so true. It's the persistence. It's the mindset. Like Paul, that's a great show because failures always come. You only get to successes. And many times people look at the successes more than failures. But it's like that, the iceberg, I call it, right? I mean, we see just the tip of the iceberg, but the real iceberg is under the water level. So no, thank you. Thank you so much. How did you really get started in the multifamily space,
Yeah, so I spent years flipping houses and flipping waterfront lots, and I actually built 7 or 8 houses. I learned something there, Vinney. Somebody who doesn't know how to tighten the doorknob on their own home should not build a house from the ground up. I don't know what you think. That's what I think, Alicia.
I do. But actually, I was going to ask how you got from, because I grew up in the same industry you did. I timeshare and then, single families flipping. And then now that I've met Vinney, it's in the multifamily space. How did you go from there to there?
Well, I spent years, Alicia,
I mean,
trying to figure out how to get into commercial real estate. The Forbes 400 wealthiest people in the world almost all invest in commercial real
I
estate.
did not know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I didn't know how to get in. I thought, would I need tens of
Well, you know
millions?
what you need to do is go out and buy this book right here.
There you go. Apartment Syndication Made Easy. Now, who's that by?
No idea.
Okay, great.
Mystery person.
So I didn't know the on-ramp, and I finally just dove in. A partner and I built a multifamily facility in North Dakota. And the average rent, if you look around the country, is probably about $1 a square foot per month for apartments, more or less. And
$1.50. I don't know. I'm in Texas, so
it could be $1, it could be $1.50, but we were renting our fully furnished with all the utilities apartments in North Dakota for $13 per square foot per month.
That's cool.
And
wow.
So we did quite well. And then I speculated again. I worked with my friend he actually built a Hyatt hotel, and it did not go well. And so I realized, we had everything going against us, but one big one was the oil price went from $100 to $33 a barrel.
Now you want to buy some, I bet. Next,
I'll tell you what, it'd be a great time to not be in that market now. So I'm glad we got rid of that hotel.
It's a good time to buy, except for I think I saw last time on the news that the oil, you were paying $37 per barrel.
Yeah, it's down again. It went to negative the other day.
Again today?
I don't know what it's at today, but it was this
But
week.
it's down. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we had a lot of things going against us. And so I realized that I did not want to be a developer. Some of the developers of the world are some of the wealthiest people in the world, but 100 times as many, in my opinion, are delivering pizzas right now.
Oh, wow.
And so the stories about speculation and ground up development and all that are many, but the problem is the average person should probably learn to invest instead of speculating. And so I finally, in the mid-teens, 2014, I decided I want to jump back into Class B, not ground up development, value add multifamily, and I'm going to try to grow a company from there. And that's what I plan to do. That's what I told my wife I was going to do. But
happy life.
Yeah, that's right, Alicia. But I kept running into this problem. I kept getting outbid. I think people were overpaying for apartments. And so finally, I expanded out a few years ago into self-storage and mobile home parks. So now I have 3 funds at Wellings Capital where we invest in all 3 of those assets.
Beautiful, beautiful. No, that's so right. I mean, I started about in the same recession, actually, Paul. In my case, I bought 14 units for $180,000 back then in 2008 and 9. And then it just was snowballing into multifamily. I just kind of stayed in there from 2008, 9, 10, 12, all the way. Then 14, I opened a company actually. And somehow because of my spirit with my investors, they were able to bring out more money quickly. Then I was able to scale up. And now we have almost 330 million, vertically integrated, that we have managed all 28 syndications and all that. But I can see your point. If you stick with it, but you chose to go different route and you're very successful. I'm so excited to hear that. Yeah.
So, Paul, can I ask you how many units do you have underneath your belt?
So right now we invested in 40.
And when you say we, who are you referring to?
My company, Wellings Capital, and our investors invested in about 46 syndications last year.
Wow.
And
46 last year?
Yeah, 46 in 2019. And then we made our only investment of 2020 so far, April 1st. Wow. And we invested in about 21 additional assets.
Wow. So you buy them very much like in a lump sum, Paul? And if somebody's trying to get into, I don't know if that's possible.
He knows where I'm going.
Or like that, or self-storage, what would you say to them, I guess?
I would say that so I talked to a guy yesterday in Texas, and he had sold his company for over $30 million. And he said, I think I want to follow in your footsteps and go out and buy some mobile home parks. I said, how much time do you plan to spend on this?
Yeah.
He said, maybe 10 hours a week. I said, my friend, let me just give you some advice. I think you're going to end up being a mom and pop operator. You'll be miserable. Your profits and everything else will go through the floor. I really think you should consider finding the very best operator you can find, investing heavily with them, allow them to do all the hard work, and you be a passive investor. And that's my advice to almost everybody. There are 7 paths to get into commercial real estate that I've identified in my brand new book.
Yes.
And I think that path is the best for most. Yeah. What's that?
What are those 7 paths right now?
So real quick, building,
I'm just like a 40,000 foot view.
Yeah. So building, starting with a small asset and then just keep growing to larger assets. Some people call it stacking. A second one is to be a deal finder for a syndicator. A third, which is often done illegally, by the way, is capital raising for a syndicator. You don't want to do that wrong.
Conversation about that recently.
Yeah, I tell you what.
AB1, and Gene Trowbridge on my show.
Yes,
and,
yes, I got his book right here. So, and we use their firm to do our syndication.
Sure.
So that was 4. 5. Number 5 would be get a job.
Yeah.
And most people don't want to. Actually, that was number 3. So number 4 is get a job.
I thought I was behind.
Yeah, most people don't want to get a job, but you can get a job as a broker or a lender or a property manager, and then work your way into, with the relational equity, et cetera, into these other situations. A 5th strategy is to actually, if you make a lot of money, let's say in Bitcoin or an inheritance, or you hit the lottery, you can actually dive in at a high level and just start at a big level, sometimes bring a few people around you, or start syndicating at a high level. That would be, then the 6th path would be to actually be a passive investor. You can be a professional passive, which means this is what you do, like our friend Jeremy Roll, or you can actually be a inactive passive investor, which means you actually don't get deeply involved, but you want to still vet the operator really well. And then the 7th path would be to actually hire a coach or mentor. A paid coach would be one choice, or an unpaid mentor would be another. Those are the 7 paths.
Awesome. Very good blueprint, Paul, that you shared. And when is the book coming out, by the way? I mean, that'll be a pretty big...
So I tried to write a book on those 7 paths, and my publisher said no, but I actually used that as 1/3 of my new book called Storing Up Profits, Capitalize on America's Obsession with Stuff by Investing in Self-Storage. And so the last third of the book is what I just went over.
Awesome.
Well, let's talk afterwards, because I think that what you have to offer is great, but it's not about me. I want to talk about you. But let's talk after this, because I'm a publisher. I published Vinney's book. And
okay.
Yeah.
Great.
#1 international best-selling book. You can see here.
Awesome.
I'm trying to promote myself right now, but I'm a salesman too. So, but definitely, I like everything you had to say. I actually wrote it down. I have notes here.
Awesome. Great.
So go ahead, Alicia.
Oh no, I was going to ask you, what's your key to success?
I think one of the keys to success is understanding what true wealth is, and understanding how to get there.
What's your definition of true wealth?
My definition of true wealth is not the mansions and the cars and the jets and all that. Those are signs that could mean you have true wealth. But I think true wealth is having assets that produce income.
Yes.
Warren Buffett said, if you don't learn to make money while you sleep, you'll work till you die. And so I want assets that produce income. The question is how to get there. You can either get there through speculating or investing. Now, if you speculate, that means your principal is not at all safe, and you've got a chance to make a return. If you invest, it means your principal generally is safe, and you have a chance to make a return. So I'm here to promote the opportunity to invest and create real wealth.
That is so true, Paul. I mean, like when we say, we have equity in the home or rentals or value adds, like, we do the waterfalls and refinance and pull out the money. And to be able to have the money make more money, I think that's what we are discussing. And
Right.
so true that, we can have the path of active if you really have time. See, you said you hit the nail on the head. You can only do it. I know it with the pandemic. I know Alicia has to go. Her daughter is a small daughter. She's right there. Zelina,
What are
she's
you
kind of
doing?
asking.
Vinney's here. Come on. She's got a tutu and jeans on.
Okay,
Oh.
alrighty. But anyway, I mean, we are recording in the pandemic, but you're right. I mean, the big thing is people who sometimes want to get successful, but if they're not willing to put the time and it's not for everybody, to be truthful.
Right.
Syndicating or developments and like what you're doing, with this self-storage and also, mobile home park.
That's the second person we've talked to about the self-storage thing.
Huh?
Yeah.
Vinney and I have done two. We did with Adam Adams, and
Oh, yeah, right.
he is in self-storage also.
Yeah, I need to connect with him. I haven't talked to him in about a year.
Oh, did you? Yeah. No, let's just, how would you say, what tools do you really see as the young people are trying to get into, let's say, real estate, right? Mm-hmm. So what would you suggest if they have no investors, Paul?
So, I'm going to say, this is sort of off topic here, but I would recommend if they want to get started, they either go the mentor route and they hire a great mentor or, a coach. But if they want to start out a little smaller, a great place to do that would be by investing through lease option sandwiches, lease to own, wholesaling lease options.
Explain lease option sandwiches to me.
Yeah, so that would be basically a way to go in with virtually no money down, negotiate a lease to own with a distressed seller. This could be a seller of a house who couldn't sell their house for a long time.
That's what you're referring to? No.
What's that?
You're not talking about multifamily. You're talking about single family.
Yeah, I'm talking about single family right now, or duplexes, fourplexes.
Save and money and right.
And then you turn around and lease to own it to a potential tenant buyer, and then you collect the profit in the middle. That's why it's called a sandwich. That's one way. They also call it subject to deals, where your deal is subject to the current mortgage that's on the property.
True. Definitely. And, I think with this one, that's a good question, Paul. With this whole coronavirus, how do you think the whole landscape has changed already, right? And how would it change even more? What are your feelings on that?
I'm doing a Bigger Pockets live show tomorrow morning at 8 Pacific, and we're going to be talking about the counties in the U.S. that are most vulnerable to be affected by the coronavirus. I think it's pretty likely that we're going to see some real trouble here on the horizon. And I think that there's going to be a phenomenal opportunity for acquiring distressed debt from banks and also acquiring distressed assets from banks and from owners who are underwater. And so I think there's going to be opportunities all over the board coming up. A lot of people are asking, do I invest this month or next? I think the question is, do you invest next year or the following? Because if you look at 2008, the bottom wasn't hit for 2.5 to 3.5 years, depending on where you're located.
So I wasn't here for that.
Yeah, true. So true. Depends on the metros and all. You're so right. I mean, some of the metros came out in year and a half, but some took 2-3 years. Like
right.
You said,
yes.
And it will happen. I mean, again, even the statistics are way different, right? Why do you feel it will be the same way like it was in 2007 and 8, even though everything was going great, the stock market was 29,657. It of course went down. Now it's at close to 24,000 still, and people are not probably going to be left out of their homes because government is doing the stimulus packets and everything and all that, right? PPP, that's a huge one.
Right.
Paid out, but then they funded more. So don't you think it will really be much lesser impact as it was back then?
I've never seen a time when there were 26 million people who filed for unemployment in 1 month. And I think the ripple effect of that is going to overwhelm the economy. And though I don't know what I don't know, I really do think it might be worse than before. There's 4 types of economic cycles and recoveries. One is a V-shaped recession where it goes down like it has and then quickly back up. And that's what I'm hoping for. And a lot of people think that that's what we're going to see because the economy was very, very strong going into February or March of this year.
Right.
The second type is a bathtub type or a U-shape, and that's where you slide in and then you kind of ripple along the bottom with some rocks and then you slide out. I hope it's not that. Another type that's kind of likely this time is a W-shape where it goes down, then it has a euphoric recovery halfway, then it drops again, and then it goes up again. And then a fourth type, the kind you don't want to see ever, is the type Japan experienced, which is an L-shaped recession where it drops and then it just has a long, slow recovery.
I
hope that we don't have that.
This Nike symbol.
What's that?
Oh yeah, I know. I've been saying that on
the V
podcasts
shape.
that we had a V coming down and a swoosh. It may not be straight V going, like the two edges, Paul, but it may be like the Nike symbol, like a check mark symbol, if we may say, which is like it did go down. We definitely are in that. And if this ease happens, and I know there'll be a lot more different behavior, as we come out of it, definitely in airline industry hit so badly, the shipping, the cruise industry, I was going to say, of course, the restaurants and all, spas, and then, of course, tourism, hotels. Oh, my gosh, so badly hit.
Huge
So, it may take maybe 9 months, maybe 12 months, but I think the people who are able to survive will be able to see pretty good opportunities coming. That's how I'm thinking,
I hope so. But Paul and Vinney, I do have to ask you guys the same question because both of you guys are, you're both very experienced in this industry and about investing. So how do you guys find your next investment without losing your butt?
Me or Vinney?
Both of us. So maybe I'll let Paul say,
But Paul, please answer your how you're going to do it. But then I want to know how Vinny's going to do it too.
Okay, great.
That's tough, and I apologize about the kid in the.
No, that's great. So we are only looking for mom and pop owned assets, and so these would be,
the business model.
Yeah, so they would be self-storage, mobile home parks, could be apartments. And we are looking for assets that either, maybe they were built, for example, in the 70s or 80s. The owner, who's often the same owner now, ready to retire, had the attitude, if we build it, they will come. And they didn't have website, they didn't have marketing, they didn't have good signs, and they may not know or care or have the skills or resources to maximize income and therefore maximize value. And we can pay them a very, very nice price, allow them to retire, and then significantly increase the value quickly, which in this kind of defensive posture where we are now in the COVID time, creating additional income and creating additional value is actually looked more in my mind like creating a margin of safety.
Yeah.
And that's what we really want to do. And I could give some examples, but I think we probably don't have time.
Surely. No, you're right, Paul. I mean, answering the same question myself, we did not buy anything in 2018. I mean, couldn't buy. Everybody was just on top of other people, like you said in 2014.
Yeah.
It happened again. I bought two in 2017 in Atlanta and done really well. But then last year we bought in Florida. We bought $52 million deal. We collected 85% rents, but May will be telling a little bit more. But then in the next one, we bought $35 million deal in Florida, and there we collected 93%, rents, and we don't see any drop in there because they're white collar, right? B plus, great assets, and so forth like that. But one thing I wanted to mention to Alicia's thinking, I've been looking into senior living quite a lot for the last year and a half, and so much studies have said that the silver tsunami started right there about a couple of years back,
Yeah.
and it will be increasing demand as 10,000 baby boomers every night midnight are turning to 65 plus, 65 years of age, and then the 70s are getting older, 80 85s are getting older, and so on. So in our case, we have kind of keeping an eye on the multifamily, which has been our bread and butter. But since we haven't had much deals, to be truthful, we are going into ground up building luxury single story, senior communities with the movie theaters, with salons, with high ceiling chandeliers, with compounds, with swing pools, with the butterfly house and the putting greens and the waterfalls. I mean, just tremendous, value we can bring to the community. And we built one, like I just mentioned to you before the show, right there in Cape Coral, and we are almost 50%, 51% pre-leased already. We didn't even open the door yet because that just
It's
we
not
didn't.
a sales pitch, Paul.
Yeah.
It is a great deal to get involved with. I'm so a legit pretty type of girl, and I'm telling you, if you want to make some money, you get involved with Vinney on this deal because it's
So what do you think
going for.
in your thinking, with the senior living? Are you looking into that or no?
Yeah, so 10,000 people turn 65 every day, and 6 out of 10 don't
No
have
idea
even.
those numbers were real.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And 6 out of 10 don't have more than $10,000 saved for retirement.
So true.
So what do you do with those people?
So for the 6 out of 10 who haven't got money saved for retirement, a lot of them do have some home equity,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are going toward
That
living in
backward
mobile home
mortgage
parks.
thing, right?
What's that?
The backward mortgage.
Some of them do
Reverse
that,
mortgage.
but some of them also live in mobile home parks, or they're moving toward mobile home parks. They're getting a lot nicer. They're not just, the very, very bottom of the housing barrel. There's some really nice mobile home parks. So that's one area I'm interested in. Now,
Yeah.
for not the 4, but I'm thinking the 1 out of 10 who
Yes.
have a lot of money saved for retirement, I'm thinking the same way you are, Vinny, that senior living is a perfect place to be,
I don't
and you
wanna
only
go
need
downhill.
a small percentage. What's that?
Don't want to go downhill. I want to go uphill.
Yeah, well, you only need a small percentage of the population to have a nice amount of money set aside for retirement. Now, Vinny, take yours. I bet your
Well, I would love
facility
to.
is
I'd love
it's
to.
probably under 100 units, right?
It's less than 100 units. The good part is, Paul, and you have been developing it. My partner, and I believe in attraction, law of attraction, big time. I've been thinking about it for a year and a half, and I'm partnering with a partner who has done 23 of them.
Wow.
23 successful ones, and he's able to build them luxury at the so low price. You'll just totally won't believe it. Actually,
Yeah.
I have had meetings with my partner and also some lenders from New York. They said, we just financed not even this nice community for 22 million, and we are building for 14 million.
Wow. That's
8
great.
million less. Million. That's 8 million less. So by cutting down the cost, but giving the value, because we have perfected, my partner has perfected the system, and we don't buy anything from China. We buy all the good things. Our general contractors have built it again and again and again. We just have brought economies of scale, into construction, because we built 100 units in 12 months, 12 to
Wow.
18 months, and they're not modules. They are really ground up construction, single story though, single story, and also with all the features, So that's where we are able to bring this to maybe 2% or even 3% of the 10, not just one, but even three, because we don't charge any more than what they are paying in that same town. For the
Nice.
old assisted senior living, if it's 3,500, our also residents pay 3,500. If it's 4,000 and includes the 3 meals and all the library, I mean, we give a lot more amenities, but the cost is same for linen, laundry, everything included, and
I
all
think you
the
guys have a lot to
transportation
discuss.
and ADLs and all that. Yeah,
I
because
think
we
you guys
manage
have a
them
lot
too.
to discuss.
We
But
manage them.
Paul, can you talk to us about maybe like the top 3 apps that you use in your business on a daily basis, or what tools do you use? Because to be honest, you guys are shooing for the senior living and all of that stuff, and that's not because you guys are seniors. It's
Is
because
it because of my hair?
Hey, I know. I have like black hair. My dad had even 88. He was having black hair, but I
well,
do
I have
color the
red, but I
mustache.
dyed it blonde. Now I
So
regret it.
I'm 67. I'll be 68. So I'm really
You don't look a day over 66.
I know, right? Tell him.
But the thing is, I think this is the right time. What you're doing, Paul, and what I'm
I
kind of
think you
getting
guys
into.
both have a value add when it comes to,
Yeah.
you
So
guys
what,
both know what they're looking for and different aspects of the financial spectrum, I guess what you would call it maybe. Because you've got people who can't afford what Vinney offers, but then you've got people who can afford what you offer. So
Right.
it's multiple, but I definitely think that
yeah.
if you guys combine that, it
Yeah.
could be really, really cool. But Paul, what do you use on a daily basis to make your business thrive?
So one thing I use is HubSpot. HubSpot is a free app that we are using a lot now. Another tool that we're using. Vinney, what's your CRM again? I think we're just
Actually,
switching.
ours is Active Campaign CRM.
We're just switching to Active Campaign,
Yes,
and
yes.
so far in the first few days, we really, really like it.
Oh,
That's
I think it's a lot better than what we've been using before. So I'll certainly mention that.
Not to
We
trash
use
them, but
Yeah.
MailChimp also, Paul, MailChimp to mine it and all
Yeah.
that, and then Active Campaign for the click funnel and all
Yeah.
that. Yes, yes.
Right. And so the third thing I'm going to mention you might not have heard of, and that's called Bonjoro, Bonjoro.
I've seen
And with
it.
Bonjoro, I can actually send video messages very quickly
Oh,
to
wow.
clients, investors. I can answer a long email using that, etc.
I have heard that. That's
I've
beautiful.
heard about it too, Vinney. I think that's definitely Bonjour. Is Bonjour?
It's Bonjoro.
Oh,
Okay.
Jerry.
And actually, I will tell you that. So I did a questionnaire of our whole list. What would you like to see in a new real estate fund?
Yes.
And I got 121 replies, actually, with people questioning. They were actually questions. What questions do you have?
Yes.
And so I decided to answer the first few with a Bonjoro, and then I just said, I'm just going to answer everybody. So I answered every one of the 121 with an individual Bonjoro video, and I could not believe the response.
Oh, because
Wow,
now I've actually heard about this, Vinney. It's definitely
I have heard it. I just haven't bought it, but I think I'm going to buy it after this
definitely
show.
worth it because you
I
get
think
to show
it's
your
amazing.
personality and
Yeah.
show your commitment. And
Yes,
show
right.
all of those things that you both have.
Sure.
And to be honest, it's probably something I should use because I'm in marketing, but I'm also came from a timeshare background, so
Yeah.
So Vinney, I think you would especially like it because your big smile can come
I would
across.
love that. No, really. And it's a video. All right. I'm for it. I've got stands here and everything in my studio here. But no, Paul, thank you so much for coming. I know you took time away from your busy schedule to be on the podcast. I hope we have brought great values to the people. Last thing, would you like to give some golden nugget to young people who want to invest, or who want to become like you or I, or kind of like that?
Yeah, I just heard from our mutual friend Brian Burke
Yes,
the
yes.
other
Good,
day.
good friend. Yeah.
Brian told me
I'll try
yesterday
to get
that,
him on the podcast.
yeah, you should.
Yeah, we will.
Uh,
We will.
he went to an event in California for real estate investors that had 45,000 people there. It was 2005. It
Oh,
included Tony Robbins, Donald Trump, etc. And they had people chomping at the bit to invest in real estate. And that was probably a good sign to not invest. Now, in 2008, after things were already crumbling, he
totally.
went to the same event and it only had 10,000 people. And he thinks that they lost money on it. Now, that would have been the time to get into real estate.
Yeah.
So my advice to young people is, I'm not saying always do the opposite of the herd. That's not right. But I'm saying whatever the herd is doing, watch carefully and think about how you can do something different to profit from the herd mentality. And if you want one book on this, I'd recommend Howard Marks. It's called Mastering the Market Cycle, Getting the Odds in Your Favor.
I love that. I love
Let
that.
me
Somebody
know.
shared that with me, Mastering the Market Cycles. Somebody was reading it. Maybe even John said that he was reading it, or somebody.
Really?
No, thank you so
I've
much.
heard the name. So
Yeah.
send me the link if both of you guys find it. I want to listen to it.
Howard Marks is one of the most, actually Warren Buffett drops everything he's doing to read his memo as soon as it comes out every week or a couple of times a month.
That's so great. You have given so much. Thank
So
you
much.
so much, Paul. Bonjoro, I'm going for it right away. And then Howard Marks' book, I have heard it 2 times. I'm going to get it in the audio. If it's in audio, that's where I usually,
Yeah, that's how I do things too.
when I'm doing it.
But Paul, how does somebody get a hold of you?
Yeah. Please.
Oh, so they can reach out to me. So I'm all over Bigger Pockets. I've got a new book I told you
like
about, Storing Up Profits. Oh, yeah, Bigger Pockets. Yeah, I do a live event there on Saturdays.
That's
Yeah.
And I'm writing for them as well.
cool.
But the best way to get hold of me is at my website. It's wellingscapital.com. That's WELLINGS capital.com.
Awesome. I will put that in the show notes.
Sure.
It's on your one sheet. I'll pull it from there.
Okay, yeah, it should be there. And we have, a couple ebooks on self-storage and mobile home parks people can get as well.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. Paul, thank you again. Really appreciate your time. And, you're a great friend. And, if you'd love to, if you would like to, we are thinking about another podcast you're starting, which is great. And, you will have 2 podcasts. And, everybody, please like us, give comments, and share the episode with your families and, friends and all. Thank you so much, Paul. Really appreciate that.
Thank you. Take care, Alicia and Vinney.
Thank you, gentlemen. I so appreciate you guys' time today. So, guys, this is Syndication Made Easy with Vinney Chopra and Paul Moore. And I am privileged as the co-host, Alicia DeBrell, but nowhere near the level they are. So, guys, like, comment, and share, because this is a podcast you want to listen to. Until next time.
Be sure to listen to Mr. Smiles next week with more golden nuggets and top-notch coaching tips. You can reach him by going to VinneyChopra.com or texting the word syndication to 474747. Be sure to like, comment, and share to show everyone how Mr. Smiles has brought your apartment syndication business to the next level.